Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows from around world football this weekend. As ever, we start with the talking point, where 65% of you voted for us to chat about the meltdown of all meltdowns at West Ham United, Hamster.
Yes, we're going to start with the shocking scenes at the London Stadium, where there was multiple pitch invasions and Gold and Sullivan, the club's owners, were forced to leave for their own safety during the 3-0 drubbing by Sean Dyche's free score in Burnley. It also left us with that iconic image of that guy in his jeans and flickers holding the flag like Braveheart. Editor, put that on screen now. That is truly iconic. But around 2,000 fans surrounded the director's box as well to hurl abuse and missiles at the club's owners. There was plenty of coverage of that on Twitter as well. In fact, David Gold was apparently hit in the face by a £2 coin. A £2 coin!
Wow.
I thought this country was on its arse. Who has the audacity to throw a £2 coin? That's a cup of bovril.
I know, mate, but if you're going to throw a £2 coin, make sure it finds the target successfully. This guy was obviously a sniper.
And
hitting
it
David
did.
right in the skull.
Apparently. Absolute lasers, because it left the owner in tears, apparently. But in all seriousness, probably unacceptable leaving your sprog in the Burnley dugout while you have a go at Mark Noble on the pitch, isn't it? But does the reasonable, everyday West Ham fan have a reason to be this upset? Probably. At the start of the season, Gold and Sullivan promised that the circus of previous reigns had come to an end. They'd convinced the fans just about to move from their spiritual home, the Bowling Ground. Maybe the fans should have fought a little bit more to stay there. Easy to say now in retrospect, but it's all gone downhill since the move. They also promised Champions League level signings. I'm not sure why they did that. This was a club that were in the Championship not too long ago. So the fans not happy that the owners haven't maintained these promises, but were they ever going to maintain them? Were they pie in the sky? Probably, but their form at home this season has been pretty unacceptable, and if you'd paid for a season ticket, you have a right to voice your displeasure. Played 14, won 5, drawn 4, lost 5, goals conceded 20, goals scored 16. No team now has conceded more goals in the Premier League, I'm not sure about Europe's top 5, than West Ham. They've conceded 57, Stoke are next on 54, and Watford and Huddersfield have conceded 50. Now, when you consider the money they've spent, not just Moyes, but Bilic as well, they should probably be doing better. But let's see what old Mo Sislak had to say on the matter.
We want the supporters behind us, but you can't cross the line and come onto the pitch. We want you behind us, and we want you with the team as much as we can. All I say is to all of them, we need them. We're fighting for the points. We're all in it. The players know. We'd done well today for long periods in the game. We didn't do so well for a couple of minutes in the second half, but we needed the supporters with us in a different way. To see if we could have got a goal back, to see if we could have got, and we created another chance after that. Marco had a chance to score. So. All I ask for is that everybody sticks together and we try and get ourselves enough points to make sure we're a Premier League team.
Yeah, as unhappy as Moisey was there, he does have a terrible, terrible record against Sean Dyche. Anyway, he's played him 5 times. He is yet to record a win. And on the day, I actually didn't think he was helped by some shambolic defensive performances, mainly from Joe Hart. Yet again, he just can't buy a save at the moment, Joe Hart, can he? His absolute howler, led to Burnley's 3rd goal. He spills it back out into the 6-yard box. I don't think a single Premier League goalkeeper is conceding more than him per game. He's conceding an average of 2.2 goals per 90. That is shambolic. But the defence in front of him, dearie me, an average pass accuracy of 66%. The distribution lines are terrible. Just 6 tackles and interceptions combined between the 5 of them. What on earth are they doing back there? They're now 16th in the league, just 3 points ahead of 18th place Palace and I think 19th place Stoke. And there is now a massive game on the weekend. Southampton at home.
Always a 6-pointer.
Wow. Absolute 6-pointer. Club captain Mark Noble obviously had to manhandle one fan off the pitch. And he was not a happy bunny at full time. So let's hear what he's got to say.
They're not happy. I think that's obvious now, but I wouldn't be saying they're not happy with what's going on. And obviously we, not us, but the players, if we don't win games, we're going to take the brunt of things. There's a lot of them out there in this stadium that ain't happy at the minute, and it's a really tough atmosphere to play in, which is fine. We understand they're frustrated, but obviously we're going to lose games, and we are going to need them behind us. I'm not saying all the West Ham fans, because that's not right, but obviously there are a number of fans that got on the pitch. In all honesty, a lot of them was sort of running over to point towards where the chairman and that sat. But if someone approaches me personally, I'm going to protect myself for sure. And as I said, we went 1-0 down. We had fans run on the pitch, and it does make the atmosphere really tough to play.
Right, so quickly then, our opinion on matters. I feel like the fans have every right to voice their displeasure, especially when they feel so detached from the owners. Apparently they poo-poo everything the fan representatives have to say. They're now... I think that move away from the Berlin ground has affected the mentality of the fans. They don't feel at home at the London Stadium. It's openly mocked for its atmosphere, isn't it? So they're trapped in this tomb of dildo. And in the right way, I think fan power can be a great thing, because essentially it is their club, but I think they've exercised it in completely the wrong fashion. I don't know why they cancelled their fan march the other day, which probably would have been a better way of demonstrating this. But instead, a few people are kind of ruining the legitimacy of their argument by acting like complete buffoons. Joseph, you?
I think the owners have got to go, that's my opinion. This isn't their first rodeo, is it? Obviously, they were owners of Birmingham City and got unceremoniously chucked out of there by the fans as well. So I'm not overly surprised they West Ham like they tried to Birmingham by selling him to Carson Young. And I think we're in a very similar situation, actually, the Birmingham fans, in that they nearly got moved to the NEC, but they ended up staying at St Andrews. And I think at the end of the day, what made the owners leave there was a very similar situation. The fans turning around, chanting at the box consistently for a whole 90 minutes against Reading. And effectively, they just said, look, if you don't want us here, we're not going to be here. So maybe West Ham fans have looked at the Birmingham fans and thought, yeah, all right, if they can do that, we're going to do the exact same. I think either way, the owners need to leave. But like you said, you can't be running on the pitch and trying to assault the players and stuff like that and throwing coins at the owners. If you want to be vocal, fair enough, but come on, let's not be getting on the pitch.
Consistently dreadful owners as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they're not a hugely attractive proposition at the minute. Although they are paying minimal rent on that
incredible deal.
London ground, aren't they? So who knows? Hopefully it gets sorted soon. Are you of the same opinion as Joe? Do Gold and Sullivan have to go? Let us know in the poll just above. First winner comes from Free Kick Curls. It's Marcus Rashford. Got to be biggest game of the weekend. I bet you were freaking delighted, weren't you, mate?
I was absolutely loving it. Obviously, he scored both goals in United's 2-0 win over the Reds. The first goal was gorgeous. That chop inside, it was like Cristiano Ronaldo.
He's really good at that.
In the day, yeah, so effective.
A lot of power in that right foot.
The finish was incredible, absolutely incredible. He's now got 12 goals in 40 games this season. A lot of people saying he should have been loaned out in January. He's already played 40 matches for United this season. There's no way we should be loaning him out. He is as well a real big game player for us. 7 of his 16 Premier League goals in his career have come against the top 6. That's really impressive for a 20-year-old. I think he's scoring with like 30% of his shots versus the top 6 and only 10% versus the rest. So he's really stepping his game up when it matters. That is crucial. I thought on the day, though, United were fully deserved of the 3 points. I think we were far better than Liverpool in the first half and then just managed the game out in the second half. I don't remember David De Gea making any really tough saves. Yes, we only had 30% possessions and 5 shots, but that's all we needed, really. The game was almost dead at half-time, then Mourinho just managed it out. We should have gone in 3-0 if Juan Mata scores that worldy overhead kick, and I think if we're going 3-0, I think it could have ended up being 4. But my man of the match outside of Rashford was actually Romelu Lukaku. I thought in the first half he was brilliant. He's been brilliant for 2 or 3 months now, hasn't put a foot wrong. And I think the goal against Chelsea, like you said off camera, has given him a real lift. In the first half, he was chucking Lovren around like a rag doll, wasn't he? Obviously, Liverpool adapted at half-time, and it was a bit hard for him in the second half. But on the day, 1 assist, 1 shot, 1 dribble completed. Unlucky not to get a second assist as well, when Juan Mata should have probably scored in the build-up to our second goal. But he was just phenomenal. He started to work so much harder in a red shirt than when he first arrived. He was quite lazy in his opening 3 months. But now he's running the channels, running behind a lot more. He's really Jose Mourinho's general on the pitch. He talked in an interview recently about being an absolute soldier for Mourinho, and he is turning into one big time. Fantastic performance from Lukaku, fantastic performance from Rashford, but Liverpool, disappointing.
Yeah, I thought Ashley Young was great as well,
Yes.
actually, on the day. He defended very well. Eric Bailly's presence back there, probably conducive to a more confident defensive performance. He was really marshalling that line. I also think, like you said, Lukaku, great first half. Second half, they put Emre Can in front of him, and he struggled a little bit to win that header that was causing so much problems in the first half. But I always think it's a fascinating battle between him and Lovren.
Yeah.
It was similar when did you draw the last game?
0-0.
And I think Lovren had him under wraps there, so he got one back over him today. But yeah, like you said, Liverpool pretty disappointing. Only conceded 1 in the previous 5 games before this, but Lukaku was causing all sorts of problems in that opening 45. A little bit Vidal's second half kind of fizzled out, didn't it? But they're also disappointing in attack on the day as well. Salah and Mane only managing 2 shots between them. And Nemanja Matic, I think, did a great job on Mo Salah. He was just following him around the pitch and just winning those little individual
Scott McTominay
battles.
was great as well.
Yeah,
so simple.
Very,
So
very
simple.
good, and he keeps it very simple, doesn't he?
Yeah.
In that he doesn't necessarily man mark someone, he just retreats to space.
And then he just gives the ball to a better player.
He was always 10 yards,
Yeah.
15 yards in front of the defence, didn't really leave that area. But yeah, as I said, not one of Salah's best days. The Egyptian Messi only managed 1 shot, attempted 1 dribble and lost the ball 7 times. The next highest in terms of being wasteful in possession in the game was actually Fellaini, who come on and lost the ball twice.
And Sanchez isn't in there.
So the
Give it away
margins
so
were
much.
very fine in that game, although I think Fellaini actually relieved a lot of pressure on you when he came
Yeah,
on.
agreed.
2 big forward options up front, and you were just missing out that midfield. Liverpool will have now only won 1 game in 7 attempts directly after a UCL home game, so we wondered if there was a bit of a correlation there, a bit of a European hangover. Not something they've necessarily had to contend with in recent seasons, having only been in the Champions League twice in the last 10 years, so maybe they need a couple more players to help juggle multiple responsibilities. But bright spots, and we dug deep to find one. By his own goal was Liverpool's 35th on their travel, which is the most in their division. Manchester United, though, have only lost 1 in their last 9 Northwest derbies. Pretty imperious form, winning 5 and drawing 4, and haven't lost since March 2014 against the Merseysiders when David Moyes succumbed to a 3-0 defeat at home. Now this starts a huge week for Manchester United. They've got Sevilla on Tuesday and they've got Brighton in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. All guns blazing for one of those cup competitions.
Yes.
I think
Champions League, I'd expect.
coming second and winning a trophy,
Yeah, a bigger trophy
United
than we won last
fans
season.
maybe would have taken that 10 weeks into the season.
Well, it's basically given the form of Man City, then you've got no other choice, I think.
Exactly. I think, 8 games left now? If you get all maximum points from those games, I think you finish with about 84, 85 points,
not bad.
which in previous years has been enough to win it. So, yeah, just shows you Man City absolutely dominant. But Liverpool, how are we ending this?
Our next suggestion.
This is how it feels to be Celtic!
Scott Young, Rangers,
7 in a row.
loses.
10 in a row, but...
Go on.
Yeah, Rangers were defeated by 10-man Celtic at home to leave their apparent revival and title ambitions all in tatters. Now 9 points behind Celtic, who have a game in hand they play Motherwell soon. Celtic had a few injury concerns as well, a few first teamers out. Lustig, Gordon and Griffiths. In fact, second choice goalkeeper Doris de Vries was also out, so Scott Bain started, who we've recently brought in from Dundee. However, Celtic, maybe as a result, were caught cold in the opening couple of minutes, conceding the second fastest Old Firm goal ever. Who was the fastest? Let me know in the comments below. But yes, it was Rangers' Josh Windass who opened proceedings, Dean Windass's son.
Great finish.
With his 12th of the season after a dreadful error from Dedrick Boyata, aka the bomb scare, as Rangers started pretty brightly, pressing Celtic. Obviously targeted that left-hand side.
Yeah.
Must have been
Didn't think Tierney
with
was better
Boyata in mind, because Tierney is probably our most well-rounded defender.
He didn't have his best game, did he?
He didn't, but he was still a threat going forward. And pretty responsible for that whole left flank, to be honest. Then Tom Rogic, the Wizard of Oz, curled in an absolute perler that would have made the Wicked Witch of the East crack a smile. It was a 25-yard humdinger, drew the boys level, and despite his recurrent injury woes and the fact he lasts 60 minutes on average every game he plays, he's contributing to a goal every 3 games for the boys. Poor defending at the back post then, a bit of miscommunication between Boyata, Tierney, and a dangerous ball across, then allowed Daniel Candeas sounds like some sort of STD, to put Rangers ahead. But this was the last point, I feel, they were dominant in the game, even after Simonovic was sent off for a pretty dirty elbow, a deserved red card. And Moussa Dembele led the charge, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the Celtic goal...
Demolition!
The Celtic goal came at an absolutely crucial point.
Yeah.
Right on the stroke of half-time. I think it took the wind really out of Rangers' sails. I think his record at Celtic is now something like 80 appearances, 45 goals, 17 assists, which is not too bad.
He's gone
not too
next
bad,
season,
so he's
isn't
definitely gone. And he actually loves playing against Rangers. He scored more goals in the Old Firm than he has in any other fixture. Conversely, the Rangers striker, Morelos, wow.
That Brazilian on his head.
For goodness sake. How does he miss at the end? He's got a tap in from half a yard. It's not his first time either. I distinctly remember in the last Old Firm game, which was a terrible match, another horrendous miss by Morelos. But on the day, I think Celtic were deserved winners. Brendan Rodgers' record against Rangers is very good as well, isn't it? I think he's played them 9 times, 7 wins, 2 draws, 21 goals scored, 6 goals conceded. He'll be a happy bunny.
This was the toughest tie for sure.
This was.
Graham Murray has got them going in the right direction, and
Yeah.
this was a very, very good game.
It was also the best Old Firm I've watched in ages.
Yeah.
They've really fizzled out in recent years, and I think it was partly down to some fantastic in-game substitutions that Celtic came away with the result from Brendan Rodgers, particularly bringing on Edouard. His finish was majestic.
Yeah,
although
really
Goss has got to show him on the line. There's no way Goss can let him come back inside.
He's sent 2 Rangers defenders for a hot dog. They're on their arse. Celtic, I think, looked a lot fitter at the end, maybe due to our involvement in European football. Obviously have to be fitter. But Edouard is a proper little finesse.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was a proper finesse. Although Goss, that was taking a leaf out of his old Exeter City days there to show him back inside.
Oh, is he from Exeter?
He is, yeah.
But
Exeter
brave
up
from
to
Rodgers
Man
to go
United.
3-4-2.
Yes, it was brave. And I think, like I said earlier, Celtic fully deserved it on their second half performance, although that goal at half-time, right on the stroke, killed Rangers' momentum. But a bloody good Old Firm all round and some tasty tackles.
10 in a row. Encham and Scott Brown as well. Props to them, absolute generals in the midfield. Don't have any stats because no one who records stats cares about Scottish football.
No one cares. Full stop.
Shut up. Next suggestion comes from our mate on Balls Up, 280 with Dave. Cheers, pal, and he wants Heung-min Son in the winners.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, obviously, he bagged another brace as Spurs came from behind to beat Bournemouth 4-1 at the Vitality. I think it was a little bit of a flattering scoreline. Some serious individual errors ended up costing Bournemouth on the day. But Son just cannot stop scoring, can he? He's now hit the net in 4 consecutive games. That's the second time he's achieved this feat this season. In fact, in the last 12 days, he's scored 7 times. That is absolutely ridiculous. He's got 2 versus Rochdale, 2 versus Huddersfield, 2 versus Bournemouth, and the 1 against Juventus.
Especially when he's a kind of hybrid winger come advanced attacking midfielder.
Yeah, definitely.
Not an out-and-out forward, is
He's got 25 in his last 42 appearances this season. I think he's averaging a goal every 156 minutes, which is better than the likes of Lukaku and Firmino, which is incredible given, like you said, he's not an out-and-out striker. And in this game, I actually thought Pochettino got it spot on. When Harry Kane was badly injured, which we'll talk about in just a second, he brought on Lamela instead of Llorente, and that allowed Son to go a bit further forward, and Bournemouth just couldn't cope with his dynamism, his runs in behind, and his interchanging with other forwards like Dele Alli. So, great decision by Pochettino on the day, especially as he's not particularly renowned for making good in-game tweaks. But, like I said, Harry Kane, seriously injured. It looked like a horrible, horrible injury when it first happened. He got his ankle caught under Begovic. Fingers crossed it's not broken or serious ligament damage. The best sign for me was that he walked off the pitch, although it was one of those injuries where he just didn't move. As soon as it happened, he just held it and was almost in shock. Just didn't move at all. He's having a scan today, but it did look really serious. Pochettino at halftime said he thought it was ligament damage, and he's obviously injured that right angle a number of times before, hasn't he? So hopefully it's not too bad. He will miss, though, almost definitely the FA Cup quarter-final against Swansea, probably the Premier League game against Chelsea, and then maybe even the England friendlies versus Netherlands and Italy. But fingers crossed, it's not bad enough for him to miss the World Cup, because he is so key for England, and of course he is incredibly key for Tottenham's top 4 push. He's so key, in fact, that we sent Olivia out onto the streets of London to get Tottenham fans and football fans' thoughts on whether Tottenham can finish in the top 4 without him.
We're back, and following Harry Kane's injury at the weekend, we're asking how badly could his absence damage their hopes for a top 4 finish and England's at the World Cup. But it's raining, so Harry Kane went off injured at the weekend, but how badly did Tottenham rely on him? And without him, could they miss the top 4?
I don't think so.
No.
Only because I'm a Man United fan, and I don't think they have strikers that are as good as Harry Kane.
I think so. I think Son's doing well. He's been hot form recently.
Well, he scores loads of goals. He does all the hard work up front.
Yeah.
But you know they're decent, unlike a certain other team in North London who are very shit, and I hate watching us. Please end it.
Ooh, with Fernando Llorente up front, I think they'll be absolutely fine, especially with Chelsea at the moment being an absolute wank. Dele Alli pulled it off last night, so did Son. I think they'll be fine. They get top 4 quite easily.
Yeah, I think so. Son's a lot more consistent than he was last season.
I think it could affect us. Yeah. I mean, we're quite lucky. We've got a good squad. Son will come in. You know, he's got goals in him.
Just feel like they won't. Why not? Tottenham, as my manager, Pep Guardiola said, he's my manager. They're just the.
No, Joe's your manager.
No, he's not. He's no one's manager. He's got orange hair, so it doesn't really count.
And what about England's hopes at the World Cup without him?
I think it'll be fine. One man and one man only. Glenn Murray to get top goal scorer, golden boot, and lift it up like it's 66 all over again.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Without him, I don't think they stand a chance, as they never do.
Probably about as well as we're going to fare anyway. We're going to get knocked out in the group stages.
In the end, it doesn't really matter that he can't walk for about 4 months because we're anyway.
Probably everyone's said it. I know they've said it. I'm in the office. We're not going to do anything special.
No way. With or without Harry Kane, we're not winning the World Cup. Let's be honest.
Get yourself inside and live out of the miserable British weather, engaging from those responses. The people agree with us. It's a good job they have my Korean brother Son, because without Harry Kane, they're a lot less potent. And we want him back before the World Cup, don't we? Not in time for the World Cup. We don't want to rush him back for the World Cup. He needs to be fit and playing before then. Otherwise, England's chances are severely inferior.
Yes.
Now, back to the game in hand. Spurs, in the end, sluggish start, but worth their victory. 63% possession, 12 shots to 14, actually. 8 on target to Bournemouth's 3, though. They conceded, Tottenham, 5 shots in the first 15 minutes without registering one themselves. So this kind of, it seemed like a post-UCL hangover.
Definitely.
You don't want to sort of give them that as like a get out of jail free card, but they were very poor in the opening stages, and Callum Wilson and Junior Stanislas were running riot, weren't they? Running away from the linesman.
Yes.
55-year-old linesman getting a bit of grief for not keeping up with 2 absolutely gas players. I won't hear it. Leave him alone. Yeah, Stanislas, after missing a bit of a sitter, opened the scoring with a very aesthetically pleasing strike on 7 minutes, low and hard. Bournemouth's first goal against Tottenham, actually, in 7 hours and 36 minutes, so somewhat of a collector's item. But Dele Alli levelled things up in the 35th minute, used the pace of Sergio Aurier's cross, just let it hit his body, a somewhat underrated finish. That's his 9th in all competitions, and he has successfully ended the worst drought of his career, 15 games without a goal. So Pochettino will be especially delighted with that one. And then the subsequent 3 goals in the final 30 minutes meant that Spurs leapfrog Liverpool into 3rd place. Probably, I think, with Kane, the most well-rounded side in the Premier League. Without, not sure. It also means that in 6 meetings with the Cherries, they've recorded victory with a margin of 3 goals or more on 4 occasions. So the perennial whipping boys for Tottenham. Bournemouth, are they safe? Cherries fans, let us know in the comments below.
Our final loser then. Gutted for them, but it's the Terriers. It's Huddersfield. This one comes from Stefan Gruber.
Yes, they're all bark and no bite, weren't they? As they endured a frustrating day at home, drawing 0-0 with Swansea, failing to score despite having 30 shots at goal, with 3 hitting the woodwork, including one absolute thunder bastard from Steve Mounier. Now, the only 2 other times a team have had over 25 shots and not scored this season have both been against Swansea. Tottenham had 26 and Southampton had 29. So, rearguard action from the Swans. Huddersfield also went full Man City, didn't they? 81% possession, the second highest in a Premier League game since 2004, when Manchester City had 82% against QPR. But ultimately, of these 30 shots, not a lot of them were quality chances, Joseph. Only 4 registered on target. And it's the 16th time this season they've failed to score a goal in the Premier League, which is pretty ominous form. They need to start converting some of this build-up play and these chances into real goals, don't they? Real goals as opposed to fake goals, which aren't a thing. Huddersfield coach David Wagner wasn't too dispirited, though. That's his trademark, isn't it? Excessive positivity. And effectively, Swansea stole a point, didn't they, though, Joseph?
Yeah, they did really, although this was a massive game. Huddersfield should have won it, and despite the fact they only had 4 shots on target with 3 hitting the post count as off targets, they've got to win this game. Them and Swansea now both on 31 points, a dangerous 4 above the drop zone, but Swansea extremely lucky on the day, despite Carvajal's claim that it was an epic performance from the Swans. I know that Jordan Ayew was sent off in the 11th minute for a bit of a contentious red. I actually did think it was a red card. I think he was kind of knee-high with his trailing leg, and it just caught him at the wrong time.
He didn't mean it, but it was.
Yeah, it just was. Obviously, Swansea didn't register a single shot in the entire game. Their expected goals was 0.00, which is one of the worst I've ever seen, if not the worst. I actually looked at the XG map, and it was literally a flat line. It looked like Swansea had died out there on the pitch. They became just the 3rd side in Premier League history not to register a shot. West Brom did it against Man City in 2004, and Blackburn did it against Tottenham in 2012. They also only completed 92 passes in the entire match as a team. That's the lowest in a Premier League match since October 2006. Jesus Christ, Swansea were lucky in this one. But a battling point keeps them above the drop zone and it keeps them level with Huddersfield. So
above water, the Swans.
Yeah, exactly. Just paddling ferociously below the surface, though. Nevertheless, a good point for Swansea, a poor point for Huddersfield. Moving on. That's the end, really. So that's the end of winners and losers. But before you do anything else, make sure you watch ERU Euro Roundup. Who is on that, Hamill?
It's me and Zacharias. Patrick is out of action today. Bad back. Too much gymming. He's over-trapsed.
Yeah, the beard has weighed him down.
But we're discussing Ousmane Dembele and his coming of age at Barcelona. Guillaume Balaguer sent us another debate, so make sure you take part on that on Twitter and in the comments. And as always, guys, like and subscribe to both channels.
Bye.
Sayonara.